G'day footy fans and welcome to Boothy's AFL Fantasy Dream Team podcast. Today I'm going to look at midfielders. Well, this is a massive job because you need 10 midfielders in your team and it's a really important part of your $11 million salary cap. You need to spend, I would suggest, between $4.1 million and $4.25 million or somewhere thereabouts. So on the left-hand side, I've got a team that could work out quite well for you if you're prepared to spend the money. And it is as follows, highlighted in yellow. Kennedy, Sydney, 653, Gunn, midfielder captain. Tom Mitchell, 638 from Hawthorn. He's going to be a gun also and could be a vice captain. Fife, 595, had a massive game the other day in JLT. Final one there, got over 130. And 595, as I said. Matt Crouch, 564 from Adelaide. He's the premier ball winner there at the moment. Even when Sloane comes back, he's going to be right up there with possessions. Just doesn't kick any goals, unfortunately, but everything else is great. Beams, 519, had a massive game today against Adelaide. I saw it firsthand. Parrish, 446, I think he's going to be a gem for Essendon this year, even with the others coming back. It might even protect him a bit. O'Meara, if he stays sound tomorrow in their final game, 364. Now, with the last three positions, what you could do is bring them all at 150k. So, for example, Barrett, who probably did enough today for Brisbane to play in round one. Miles for Hawthorn, hopefully gets a game in round one. He's got a game tomorrow. And, of course, Hodge being suspended for round one might mean Miles can get the gig. And Hibberd from North Melbourne, who came on for a half and did quite well, looks strong, is a good versatile player. He's another option in the midfield. So those three you could pick for round one, for example, and then whichever one you think looks the best for round one, then put him on your field. And it could be Miles if he does really well tomorrow and scores, 70 plus. Otherwise, at the moment, I've got Barrett, but he might only be good for about 65, playing a small forward role mainly, or sort of half forward. Now, some other players to consider in M1 position are Treloar, who looked really good this round as well. Dangerfield, of course, at the top, they're expensive. Hannaberry, Rockcliffe, but he hasn't been as prolific under the new coaching regime, so maybe he's too expensive these days. I've got a question mark there. And Lachie Neale looked amazing, but of course, with Fife there and Stephen Hill improving, but Neale still racks them up even after his operations and whatnot. So if you want to spend the money on Neale, go for it. The ones in yellow on the rest of the page there, other than the first column, the ones in yellow for the rest are all players who scored 100 or more in one or more, at least one JLT game over the last month. So I'll say that again, the ones on the left didn't necessarily get 100. They're just sort of my favourites at the moment for round one midfield. And all the others in yellow there, as you can see, there's another dozen players or whatever it is. They all scored 100 or more in at least one JLT game. And some other players who aren't highlighted got close or only played a half. For example, like Jack Stevens scored 80 and a half or something ridiculous like that. So that's what the yellow is if you're wondering. So let's have a look at some of those players now. So in M2, we have Aaron Hall there highlighted on the right with two scores of 120. He's pretty expensive, but he's going well. He's also got a bye in round 9, so be aware of that, of course. You've got Luke Shuey, who had a big score as well. He looks pretty good, although you could get Gaff and save the money from West Coast as well. Ollie Wines is also in that position. See how he goes tomorrow. Again, he's got a bye in round 9. Joel Selwood, haven't seen him have a big game in JLT, but we know he can do it. He's been doing it for a long time. Viney, look, I think he's just in second gear at the moment. I think he's still great and could improve at his age, of course. And as I said, Jack Stephen, 80.5, could be prolific. Last year he scored, 8 scores of over 120. So he's pretty massive. M3s, you've got Bontempelli, who came off a niggle the other day, but still looks pretty solid. Dylan Shield, who always looks like he gets banged around for GWS, but still great. Cochin, a bit quiet today, I thought, but I think he was just foxing up forward a bit more in that game. Callan Ward, who always racks them up and consistent and gets a couple of goals as well. Barlow, who's amazing still at Gold Coast and looks prolific, but again, a bye in round 9. And Robbie Gray playing tomorrow, but we know he's a gun. Kelly, who got a massive score the other day for GWS, who I really like as a player and will improve again in his 4th year. Gaff, who has averaged 100 and he's still pretty young, still only 24, I think. Stephen Hill, who's been really consistent during the preseason or getting really high and more inside time as well as outside, and his brother's playing with him, so he loves that. So that's fantastic. And Nunes, who I think is going to be a star, gets better every year. Heppel, question mark. Prestia, not great today, but, can rack him up a bit. Menegola, who's underpriced because he didn't play 10 games last year, played under 10 games. Armitage, who averaged 107 2 years ago and was a bit injured last year, so he's undervalued there, I think. Crisp, who got 30 posies today, and obviously got 100. Shields from Hawthorn, who was a bit injured last year and can get up towards 100 as well again. Andrew Swallow's there because he's the number one possession winner at North Melbourne today, and he did score 2 scores of 120 plus, 127 it was, twice late last year. And again, he got the highest score for North Melbourne of 99 this round. So I think he's there because he's underpriced and the best option at North Melbourne other than Zeeble. But Zeeble doesn't tend to rack him up. He just tends to do really great things and burst through and all that sort of thing. But Swallow's still getting good possessions and will be good for Dream Team if he stays sound. Murphy, look, he looks a bit underdone, but he's getting better each week and he still has got obviously 100 in the past. I think he's good for 90 this year, might be a plus 10. So, and some other names quickly. Oliver, who got a massive score the other day with 30-odd possessions. Atkins, who got 30 today and over 100. Watson, I've got a question mark for because of the Anzac Day 5-day break for round 5. Same with Heppel. Maston's been great this preseason, got a massive score of about 135 the other day. Dunstan, who always looks banged up, but he has played 55 games in 3 years and will be a midfield star, so he's pretty underpriced. Hartung's there because Hodges out for round 1. Bradley Hill's gone away. Obviously, they've lost Mitchell and Lewis, and he's a fourth-year player in the mid with pace, so surely this is his year. And then in the next line, M7, you're going to have to go either a Mir or a Sheed, who got 90-odd the other day, 95 or 97. David Swallow, if you want to go down that path. Sexton got 110 in a game. Taranto, great first-year player, one of the likely to play this year, I should say, in first round. Holland Smith, if he does well tomorrow for Geelong, who already got 90-odd the other day. Billy Smets for Carlton, who got 83, but he's pretty well priced, and Carlton need him. So then, and the rest, apart from, Power Pepper, is there in M8, 216, see how he goes tomorrow. Atlee's 188 for Port if he gets a game in round 1, because they're got a couple of issues at the moment with players being suspended, like Cracker and Pittard, or injured, and even Broadbent, so he could get a game and could be good value. And the rest are all 150s. I've mentioned Barrett, Moles and Hibbard. There's also some other question marks on round 1, like I've got Greenwood from Adelaide, who got about around 50 today and might be in round 1 for Adelaide, possibly. If he is, you might want to consider him on your bench. Fox from Sydney, if he plays tomorrow and gets into round 1 because of Heaney's absence. And Harrison Wigg for Adelaide, who can rack him up definitely and average 23 disposals in SANFL. Third season. He'll probably only play if Sloane doesn't get up. And he did very well in the SANFL today, I hear, but didn't play AFL for Adelaide. So they're the ones to consider for your teams. I think I've covered all of them. And the ones with the crosses, the ones I've recommended over my podcast over the last 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks. And I haven't put them in this list for round 1. And that's Demont, Picken, Jones from Melbourne, Zeeble, Mundy. He's underlined because he's got 100, but I just think he's at the sort of latter end of his career and there's better options at Freo. Zaharakis, because he's not going to get as much ball now that the players are back. McCluggage is injured. Gibbs, don't think he's worth it now. Buick got 101 game but didn't do so well today, and maybe he's not worth a bit of mid-price there. Canelio, ankle injury, may not play round 1. Tucker, not quite ready to really go up after one season. Cripps from Carlton, very underdone even though he's great. And Brodie's injured. So look, the buys are down below and you can see the total prices for those examples of teams there from $4.1 million to $4.242 or nearly $4.25 million. Look, good luck with your midfield. I'll be back tomorrow with the forwards, and I'll be back to review some of the rucks, forwards, midfields, and of course the defenders after I've seen the final JLT game tomorrow on Sunday. So good luck, have fun. Don't forget to subscribe, like, or comment. Thank you, and bye for now.